This last weekend, I got to have an absolute blast. One of my friends had an extra ticket to the new art museum, which just opened in town, so I got to go down there. Given this is not a very big city, and most of you that live in larger cities probably would consider this a town, although technically it's a city. Technically. We went to the art museum opening. It was awesome. They had these guys that were walking around on stilts. They had like ostrich puppets around them and they could control the heads. I actually got to see some really great art. There were some wonderful photographs. I actually took a picture of a pile of cell phones. There was a photograph of a pile of cell phones, and I took a picture of it with my cell phone, which I'm not quite sure if that fits the definition of irony or not. After we got done, we went and had Mexican food, we went out and went bar hopping, and we went to this crazy redneck bar. And I mean, it was crazy, like, pool tournament thing going on while we were there. And there was this guy there who was hitting on my friend. She was there with her girlfriend, and he kind of wasn't getting the hint, and he kept buying them drinks. And I do believe at some point he offered to buy me a drink. I think he was trying to get me to go home. And the funny thing is, this was after he realized that my friend was there with her girlfriend, which kind of weirds me out. Straight guys are really, really dense. I don't think I will ever understand how their brains work, or why they think it is perfectly acceptable to sit there and hit on a girl in front of her girlfriend simply because she's a lesbian. I mean, it seems kind of tactless to me, and tasteless, and fucking creepy. Jefferson Mark asked, what is the origin of your name? The name that I actually go by in general is Bob, and I will give you the origin of both my nickname and my given name. All my friends call me Bob, and they've been calling me Bob since I was 16 years old. When I was 16 years old, I went to a church camp, and there was actually a guy there named Robert who went by Bob. And several people thought it would be funny if they started nicknaming everyone Bob so as to cause confusion with the camp counselors. So we all took the nickname Bob, and everyone started calling us Bob. Well, it kind of got back to my Boy Scout troop. I was very involved in the Boy Scouts for years, and some of my friends from the Boy Scout troop were actually there at the church camp, so they took it back with them, and it started to get used among the Boy Scouts, and it has been my nickname ever since. Everyone I know calls me Bob, aside from my family members. My given name is actually Barslan, which is a family name. It was my great-grandfather's name, and he was Danish. From what I understand, it's supposed to mean the good earth, the great land, or something along those lines, but when I translated it online, it said to give birth. So, take it for what it's worth. My name might have something to do with popping a baby out. Winter asked how we feel about zoos. I don't actually mind zoos. I don't have a problem with them as long as they care for the animals. I mean, there's kind of a limit there. I don't really mind the more traditional zoos as long as they make sure the animals receive the proper health care and that they stay in good health. Unfortunately, a lot of the more traditional zoos just don't have the room for the animals that live there, and the animals have health problems from not getting enough exercise and things of that nature. So, I have to admit, I would like to see zoos that are a bit less traditional, more preserve-like, but I don't really have an issue with zoos in general. Oh my god. Matthew, you asked what our favorite childhood memory is. I have several great memories. One of them, pretty much all of the really good ones from when I was a kid, of us getting into trouble, were from hanging out with my uncle. So I'll tell you two of them, because there's two that come to mind. My uncle used to let us ride in the back of his truck with the tailgate down. We lived in Arkansas. It was perfectly legal to have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds in the back of your truck at the time, driving down the road. Not that it was ever a good idea. So we were in the back of the truck and we were singing to Kiss. I want to rock and roll all night, and that was it. That's when I slipped and I started to roll out the back of the truck. And I popped off the tailgate. We were going probably about 15-20 miles per hour. And I tumbled right off the back of the tailgate and hit my head on a rock. And my uncle stopped, and all my cousins jumped out and came back running. And I was sprawled out on the ground. And I was laughing hysterically. It didn't hurt me, I don't think. The other one, my uncle used to take us out to this vine on my parents' property, and we would go swing on it because it was hanging right over a hill off this tree, and it was a grapevine. And so I was out there swinging on it, and I was taking my turn, and after about a year of us swinging on it, the grapevine decided it was time to go, and I fell probably about 10-12 feet through tree branches and landed on a rock and didn't break anything. Surprisingly, I've only ever broken one bone, and it wasn't even bad enough to need a cast. Megan, you asked a very serious question. How do we go about getting equal marriage rights? I think a lot of the problem comes from our lack of unity in the gay community. I'm not sure that I can give you a direct answer of how to fix that or how to fix any of our problems. But I think there's a big issue with certain sections of the gay community even sectioning themselves off from the rest of the gay community instead of saying, we have the same goals, we have the same purposes, we want the same things. People section themselves off into little cliques. I just think too often we split ourselves into small groups and we end up hurting ourselves. So I think the biggest problem is a lack of unity among the gay community. Okay, so here's my question. Is there something in your town, maybe a restaurant or something of that nature, that you haven't gone to explore yet and that you want to go explore? Tell me about this place, because I actually got to go see some great places this weekend. I went to a bead shop, I went to an art museum that just opened, and I went to this great new Mexican restaurant. So is there a place in your city that you want to explore, something that you want to go see that you just haven't had the chance to see? And tell us why you want to go see it and what it is. Anyways, I will catch you guys later.